Hey, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Sorry, I was drinking my water. Because you know what it is? How good is your water? I drink water every morning, but people don't understand how good water is and what the benefit of water is. So you know something? I wanted to bring somebody on to tell us what the benefits of water is, how good it is. Are you drinking enough? What are you doing? Happy holidays. Hope everything is good. Without further ado, let's bring my man on, Alex. Give him a big round of applause, everybody. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you doing, Charles?
I am great. Listen, I had to get my water in. They caught me drinking my water. I have a one glass of water every morning, and I'm like, I wonder if anybody else drinks water. So I said, let me bring the man in on himself, Mr. Alex, to talk about water. How you doing, buddy?
Fabulous, fabulous. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. So before we start, let's give us some background. Who is Alex? Born and raised. Where are you from?
I am from a country called Romania, which is in Central or Eastern Europe.
All right. So did you always want it to be in water? Was water your thing growing up?
Not really. No. I started in high school in the mechanic section, and then I realized that it was too dirty, and then I transferred to the electrical department, and I realized that it's still indoors.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, I want to do something that is outside, fresh air, and it is always different. So I went to the University of Water Engineering, and I said, okay, these guys are doing always stuff that are unique. There's never one dam or one port or navigable channel or water treatment plant that is the same like the other one. So this is how I became a water engineer.
All right, you just dove into it. So then tell us the background, because I found out this a couple of years ago that drinking one glass of water first thing in the morning helps your digestive system. Most people, when they wake up in the morning, the first thing they reach for is that black liquid. They want that first cup of coffee. They got to get their first cup of coffee, and they say, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. I haven't had my coffee yet. You know what I mean? Me, it's now, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. I haven't had my glass of water. What is the benefits of water that people don't really know about?
Well, that's an amazing question. I wish more people would ask not only others, but themselves, first of all, because as you remember, we are born with 93% water, which is basically like a grape.
Mm-hmm.
Now, during our lives, we are not provided the necessary water to maintain the quality and quantity of this water, obviously. And this is very, very serious because people are suffering from, I call it involuntary chronic dehydration, because when you don't know something and things just happen to you, then obviously it's involuntary.
Right.
And if just to compare it with the grape, a lot of people are living like raisins, and they are dying, unfortunately, are raisins, and this involuntary chronic dehydration leads to all kinds of issues, health issues.
Right. Is it that we don't know, or we just when I first started, I'll be honest with you, as a kid, my mom used to tell me, after sports, here, drink some more water, drink some more water. And I was like, ew, water. It's got no taste. It's got nothing to it. So I would reach in and grab, like orange juice, apple juice, fruit punch, all that other stuff, because it has taste. Is it like we have to teach our kids that water is the thing to drink?
Well, that's what they asked me, because when I got involved with this Japanese company, they asked me, they found out that I'm a water engineer, and I said, guys, come on, you can't just tell me stuff. And they said, okay, well, Mr. Fancy Pant Water Engineer, what did you do today for the maintenance of the quality and quantity of 70% of your body?
Right.
And I said, well, what kind of question is this? What 70%? Well, your body is 70% water, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, okay. So I started to kind of remember what is it exactly that I did. So I said, okay, I had 2 cups of mint tea with my breakfast, and I went to the office and I had, I don't know how many cups of coffee, because it's there, everybody's drinking it.
Yeah.
And then for lunch, I had, I don't know, some chicken soup and schnitzel, and I had a beer and some juice or something like that. And then they said, "Hold on a second, Mr. Fancy Pant Water Engineer. Your body is not tea, not coffee, not chicken soup, not juice, not beer. It's water.
Yeah.
So what did you do for the maintenance of this? You know, you're taking your car for an oil change every, I don't know, 5,000-6,000 kilometers, right? Why
Right.
are you doing that?"
Makes sense.
So
Makes sense.
it became kind of uh, I don't know, when you start thinking conscientiously about something, then you realize that holy matrimony, I am seriously dehydrated, and I didn't realize why I was having this chronic lower back pain. I thought it was because of the job, stress, whatever. I said, okay, well, that's normal to have chronic lower back pain, and then pop in the pills every 3-4 weeks and all that. And I realized that, yes, I was dehydrated, and everything changed when I started drinking the right water.
See, I'm laughing because I'm like you. In the morning, I drink mint tea. I don't drink coffee. I'm a tea drinker, so I have my mint tea. You know, what I mean, I might have a hot chocolate here and there, and then you go out through work. You know, you wake up in the morning, you have your toast or whatever, and then you go have a lunch. And at lunch, you usually have like maybe McDonald's or Burger King and stuff. They don't offer you water. They give you this cup, and then you walk over to this beautiful machine that has ginger ale, Sprite, Coke, this, that, this, and then you just fill it up, and then you drink. And in time you get home for dinner, you're not drinking water again. You're having wine with your dinner, or you're having something else. So you're right. We don't really think about, wait a minute, I had to stick water in there somewhere. So how do we change our mindset? How do we just say, listen, water's got to be in there somewhere?
Well, first of all, the fact that water has to be part of our life is very, very important. But in the same time, we have to make sure that we are drinking something, some kind of a water that is actually serving our body. Because, the toxicity level around us is obviously just climbing. So compared to when we were, I don't know, 40, 50 years ago. So that thing is a given. And unfortunately, we have only one body to fight it off or to deal with it, right?
Okay.
So now when we are dehydrated, it's just like, when to use a comparison, when you go to the washroom, you have to flush. Otherwise, it's going to be, stinky. So the situation is that because we are not hydrated properly. It's not about really the water that we are drinking, but we have to drink something that is actually hydrating. And it was quite an epiphany for me to find out from these Japanese people that I had the privilege of meeting that the smallest blood vessel in the body is the capillary, and most of the blood that is transported, right, with the nutrients from the place of absorption to the cell is transported because a very, very high percentage of the blood is water. Now, when we are dehydrated, there are all kinds of issues, starting with the high blood pressure and all that. But what I'd like to say is that when the size of the water molecule is capable of penetrating the capillary, that's when we are going to start hydrating properly. Now, unfortunately, the molecular size, the cluster, because of whatever is in it, is too large, and it's not capable of penetrating the capillary. And that is why sometimes the stomach has to start processing and digesting water, and the stomach is not designed or invented to process water. It's invented is there to process the food.
Right.
Unfortunately, what I learned and that was like a big thing to me is, and I think that kind of summarizes everything that we need to know about water, that healing is voltage. So when we are drinking all the drinks that are out there, and of course now we are measuring them because it's all measurable. It's like millivolt charge, so you measure it. If it's positive, it's oxidizing you. If it's negative, then it's an antioxidant. Now they tell you, the good people who want you good, okay, if you want to live a healthier lifestyle, then drink green tea, right? Now green tea is an antioxidant, and it measures like minus 75, minus 100 millivolts. Similarly, when you're eating vitamin C,
right?
So that is actually serving the body because it's a powerful antioxidant. Now, when you're drinking this water, it is like minus 600, minus 700 millivolts. Compared to the plus 400, we even measured 600 in Oshawa, and people were, upset that the fish died in the fish tank. Well, they are living organisms. They also know what is good. Just like, we did experiments because, I, as a water engineer, you don't believe everything that they are told. We are told. So we did experiments with the dog. Put the bowl with the tap water. You put the bowl with the some sophisticated water out there, which is I don't know, Fiji, and then you put the bowl with this water that has negative voltage.
Right.
Guess where the animal is going? And nobody told them, hey, drink this because this is the best antioxidant and this is the best, thing that is going to hydrate you, and this is the thing that is going to flush the acidity from your body. No, animals know. Yeah. And then they detoxify. It's becoming a bit smelly in the house, but then they are happy and they are jumping all over you, and you can see the happiness and the gratefulness, which is unconditional in their life, in their eyes. Sorry.
So is it because now listening to what you're saying is when people say, oh, and we're going to get stinky and nasty here, but when they say they're constipated, when they don't use the bathroom properly, when they eat foods and they don't flush out properly, or they go urinate and it stinks and you're wondering why does it smell this way, we're not flushing our system. We're not putting the right liquid in our system to, as they say, go through the pipes and flush out properly.
Absolutely, yes. And this electric charge is also very, very important. Why? Because I learned, I had no idea, nobody taught me in school, but obviously didn't know about it because the Nobel Prize was given to these people in 2003. And they basically discovered how the actual hydration happens in the cell, because, the cell in the body has a membrane. Now that membrane is positively charged. Now, when we are drinking positively charged waters, and all of them are positively charged out there, positive and positive, they repel each other. So it's a simple law of physics, right? It's not happening. It's not happening. And because of the size, again, it's something that, you cannot throw a baseball through a chain link fence because it will just not go through. But when you drink something that is restructured, it has a small size, it has a negative charge, it's like sucked in right away. And as a bonus, because it has an alkaline pH, it is capable of actually, cleaning up the cell. You can clean in the house, and if you leave the garbage at the door inside,
it's not
going to happen. So it has to be flushing, constant flushing. And the other important property of this water is that it's anti-inflammatory. And there is so much research on this. The active hydrogen is just the therapeutic effect. So we have to ask, what we are drinking, is it serving our body? Does it have the right voltage to heal? Right? We have so many athletes who can actually train more and recover faster after, let's say, injuries.
But it has to be the right system you're putting back in.
They are drinking this negatively charged water, and you can compare with the same athlete who doesn't drink it, and we can see that they are incapable of training as much as these guys, because hydrogen is the biggest source of energy. It's the smallest element, so it can penetrate everything faster. As a comparison, for example, hydrogen has a size of 1, vitamin C is 180, so vitamin C still has to be processed. And the other thing that I learned is that that was really, because when I was a kid, I was told you are what you eat.
Yeah, I remember that. They tell you to eat. Make sure.
Yeah, well, I guess my parents were encouraging to eat, not to leave anything on the plate. But the thing is that we are not what we eat. We are what our body can absorb.
Okay.
because you and I can eat the same thing and it's not going to have the same effect. So it is the nutrient utilization or absorption that is most important. It's not the nutrient consumption, because there are smart people out there who know that the nutritional value of food is not the same as it was 30, 40 years ago. So, you know, they buy various types of supplements.
Chicken wings used to be like this. Now chicken wings are.
Well, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the actual nutritional value. You know, there are all kinds of supplements, minerals, vitamins out there, various types of quality, various types of price, right? And people are paying sometimes big money for these nutrients. Now the problem is that if they're taking them with regular water that is not hydrating, the absorption is not the same. So, you know, it's not the same if it absorbed 90% or it's absorbed only 20. There's a difference. Everything else is gonna be like, you know, an expensive. I don't want to say.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break, but when we come back, we're gonna dive right over to your website. You have some messages there, and now I want to get into then how do we get the best water? Where do we go? What do we need? Do we need to, you know, run up to the mountains and drink from the mountaintops? Do we have to go to a country where they have natural spring water? How do we find the best water? Stay tuned. We'll let you know right after these messages.
Immigrant Women in Business, IWB, is a non-profit organization bringing together women from over 50 different countries around the globe. These women have now made Canada their home and share a common goal of providing value to their new sisters. Our motto of "We are stronger together" resonates with all members, and with a diverse membership of business leaders, entrepreneurs and community builders, our goal is to make Canada better and provide guidance and leadership to those that follow.
CMJ Entertainment is a one-stop shop. CMJ Entertainment helps people do any type of events, and it's a marketing tool as well. So we'll cover everything from start to finish. If it's a wedding, we'll make sure your wedding is over the top. And if it's an event, we make sure that everybody gets information at the end of the day. Give us a call at 416-414-8964 or online, go to cmjent.com. Yes, we are back live, and you saw a little snippet there, and a couple of things that she mentioned that, like, when I first started drinking water, blew my mind. 8 glasses a day. I'm like, 8. So when I can't even get through the first one in the morning. I need to drink 8. Why do we have to drink so much in our system? Why do we have to get it down?
Well, because our body is 70% water, at least 70%, or it should be. Now I'm just saying that it should be, because a lot of people are not having that. And it's something that is very basic for the functionality of the organs in our body, right? So you don't want to let anything happen bad in your internal system, because that will trigger all kinds of other issues, right? So it's not really 8 glasses, because, you know, we have glasses and glasses, right? So the thing is that it's according to the weight, and the Japanese have a system. They basically say to drink like half an ounce per pound of body weight. which is in if you're healthy. If you have issues, obviously you need a lot more antioxidation, which is free radical damage neutralization and the elimination or at least prevention of inflammation, because disease is inflammation, right? So and hydrogen can do that. Hydrogen is a powerful anti-inflammatory, so that's why it's an option. There are options out there. And just as a side story, it was interesting for me to realize that I grew up with artesian water, because we were talking about, are there still waters that are better than whatever is coming out of the tap or from the plastic? And yeah, I grew up with artesian water, and I had no issues that I remember, except from chicken pox that everybody goes through it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was never I never had any illnesses until I moved to the city, and I didn't realize why I started to having the issues. And then now that we took advantage of this simple option to change our lives, now we are measuring. So I went back to my hometown and I measured the artesian water that I was drinking when I was a kid, and it turned out that it has a negative electric charge and it is slightly alkaline. And so that explains it. And of course, I think it's just wise and commonsensical to pay attention to the Japanese, because they are the longest living people on earth. So I guess
something they must be doing right? Something.
Yeah.
So talk about this unit then. I'm just fast forwarding the video a little bit, but it's a nice little unit. It's not this big thing I was thinking about. When we think about water, we think, oh, we have to use that big tank in the corner of the kitchen, and this guy has to come in with this big tank on his shoulder and fill it back up. You know what I mean? Every time you put it in here, you grab some water and you hear bloop, 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 every time you take a drink of water. Tell us about this nice small unit.
Well, this is manufactured in Osaka in Japan. This is an original equipment manufacturer, because it is considered a medical device in Japan, because it is making 4 different kind of waters, not only the drinking one, but also the 2.5, which is a powerful sanitizer, and 11.5, which is a powerful degreaser. So it is actually capable of washing off the pesticides from the fruits and vegetables. Because a lot of people are smart and they realize that they don't want to eat junk, so they prefer to eat fruits and vegetables, which are a lot healthier, obviously. But it's just like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. You are making 5 steps ahead, and then because of the toxin intake, that's because all the pesticides or whatever they are sprayed with, these are oil based, so you cannot really wash them off with normal water.
Oh, okay.
Oil and water don't mix, so you have to have something that is so penetrating that is going to actually emulsify oil, and this water does it. And plus the 4th water is called Beauty, because it has the pH of the skin, and it is used in various hospital protocols in Japan. I mean, this is not something that has been invented yesterday. They had those big devices in the Japanese hospitals, like fridges or whatever, even bigger, to make these 4 waters. But the founder of the company saw a presentation about these waters by Japanese medical doctors, and then he realized that there are people standing in line with containers to take these waters home. And he said, like, what is happening? And said, well, that's what people are doing. They were treated here with these waters, but they want to take it home to their family. So he then said, okay, well, it's probably a good idea to have a device that is portable. And now all the devices that have been made since 1970s, they are portable. They can be hooked up to any faucet, because technically the tap water is ready to be consumed. The only thing that is being made by this device is, it's the electric charge. It's a medical grade ionizer, the technical term.
So right here, like in this video, we see them testing the water at a certain level that we don't even know about. So is that why sometimes, like, you go to your shower, and then you go maybe to a hotel shower, and after you shower off, you feel different? You're like, wait, my skin feels different. Is it the water balance is different? The different water that they use, hard water compared to soft water?
Well, when you shower, obviously the feeling is different. That's a different story. And of course, because there is chlorine in the water, that's not really the best thing to put in the body. And when you shower, well, that's even worse because, you know, you're not drinking the water, but you're absorbing it through your skin, which is your biggest organ. So there are all kinds of issues that can be avoided, but there are much better options that are provided by this Japanese company.
Okay. So how do we know? I see like in these videos, you know, they're testing each bottle of water, you know what I mean? So for me, the best water to drink is your own water. You know, we go out and we buy all these expensive bottles of water. We think this one's better than this one and this one's better than this one. We go to the store and buy, you know, cases and cases of water when we could just generate our own water instead of running out to the store every 2 weeks, buying all these bottles of water, save our landfills because we know plastic does not, you know, recycle properly. You know, we could be helping the environment, saving money, saving time, and just do our own water.
Well, that is a very commonsensical statement because, you know, for example, we don't buy any kind of plastic water. We don't buy water at all. And we don't use any chemicals. Well, you know, other than that, these 4 waters are capable of replacing all the household cleaners, degreasers, sanitizers, disinfectants. And well, if the Japanese can use these waters in the hospitals, it's just commonsensical for us to take full advantage. And yeah, somebody told me that, well, this device is expensive. I said, well, it's not a coffee machine. It is actually making you money.
Well, let me be devil's advocate here. Is it expensive? Let's run it down. You don't have to go out and buy cases of water. Put that money back into the machine. You don't have to run and fix, you know, keep getting a filter every day. You know, when these other things that we use out there, every 3 months or 4 months, you got to keep buying a filter and putting it in. Okay, you save money there. Your health, not going to the doctor, not buying vitamins and all these other minerals to go there. You're saving money there. So is it really expensive? Just take all that money you would have spent out and put back into the machine. To me, it balances out. Right? So you're not really spending more money. You're actually taking the money you would spend anyways and put it into a better machine, a healthy machine, thing that saves you money. So think of it that way.
Yeah, that's so very true because really we cannot really put a price on our health, right? And it's a lot easier to prevent than trying to figure out what is wrong.
Right.
And it's not me saying it, but there are, you know, smart scientists in the world who are saying that the root causes of all diseases, not only cancer and diabetes, but all of them, is like there are 3: dehydration and too much oxidation in the body and too much toxicity. With other words, you know, the acidity that because what is it that we are doing actually? We can always ask ourselves, okay, how are we fighting off the toxicity, the acidity in the body? Because everything is this oxidative stress is resulting in our body being acidic. And I don't know if you have gone to an old age home recently, but the first thing that is shocking that you actually feel is the smell of toxicity. That acidic smell that is way different than smelling a baby. You remember the baby, like even in the movies, okay, sucking in the youth. Well, that's what it is compared to everything else. And you know, even with the oil change in our car, we are not only just putting a quart to, you know, to have it level. We are flushing it. We are flushing it. So the question that we have to ask ourselves, what is it that we are doing to flush? What is it that we are doing to put out the fires? Because we have so many people suffering from various types of, you know, anxiety, depression. This is serious inflammation caused by the fact that, you know, we don't hydrate properly.
Here's the funny thing: illness plus aging. All right.
By restoring the body to an alkaline state, we can regain control of our health. Since our bodies are over 70% water, the best way to do this is by drinking water with a good amount of naturally occurring alkaline minerals. These are just pH drops like you would test your pool, or anything you're wanting to test the pH of a liquid. If you look at the pH chart, it's about a 4, and then typically pop and sports drinks are right in between a 3 and a 4 pH. When you got your Kangen, this is actually the 9.5 water, but the machine can make 8.5, 9, or 9.5 so that you don't detox too quickly. A fun little trick I want to show you guys is I pulled the Kangen water here. Let's say you've been drinking bottled water for a long time, and you're like, okay, well, how long could it take for the water to kind of help my body? Well, I'm going to drinking the Kangen water. But, you guys, sports drinks and sodas are so acidic. It actually takes 32 glasses of Kangen water just to neutralize one soda.
That's I have to laugh because there's a lot of pop drinkers out there. You know what I mean? So if these tests don't show you that we need to flush our bodies, okay? I'm not saying give up all the pop in the world. What I am saying is if you're going to drink pop, you might want to have something in the morning to help you flush off, and before you go to bed at night, help you flush. You know what I mean? That's the way it happens. Think about it. We're not saying get rid of everything. It's like saying don't buy candy. You buy candy, guess what you have to do afterwards? You got to brush your teeth. Get the sugar off your teeth. It's the same thing. Pop, tea, coffee, all that stuff. What are you going to do? You need to flush it out somehow. Think about it. There you go. So, my friend, how can we get in touch with you? Phone call 209-8250. Give him a call. Ask him questions. You can, he's been doing it a long time. You can tell. He said, get rid of mechanical, get rid of electricity. I'm going into water. There it is. Or you can just give him an email. There it is right there. Or just go to the website. That's the website I've been looking at right now. Watch the whole video. The video is like 9 minutes, but it's giving you detail after detail. A lot of great information on there. Or just say to him, listen, I need some more information. Alex, talk to me. What can we do to make my life better? There it is. Alex, my friend, thank you so much for teaching us the ins and outs. And I love the statement. You know what I mean? It's not you are what you eat, it's what you put into your system. We got to make sure our systems are 10 times better. So thank you for joining us on the show, my friend.
My pleasure, anytime.
All right, everybody. Like I said, you don't have to watch, but I'm glad that you did. Thank you for taking the time. And the one thing I always tell you to do is call somebody. But here's the next thing I'm going to tell you to do. Go drink some water. It's good for you.
Good water.
Have a good one. We'll see you next time.
Has come to an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.
Please be advised that this podcast is meant for educational and informational purposes only and is in no way a replacement for legal or medical advice. The opinions contained within are solely those of the interviewers and interviewees and should be received as so. Those seeking help or advice are encouraged to obtain